since I've been working with operators here with the PHP, I thought it might be a good idea to do some assignment operators. And so what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and remove the code that I have here and just kind of work with my PHP code. And I'm going to go ahead and just use a simple x and y for my variables. So I'll do $. I'll just do x and set it equal to, we'll start off with a number like number 10. And then y will be equal to, let's go ahead and equal it to 1. And that with a semicolon. And so you can see that we've already used an assignment operator when we use the equal sign, meaning the value of 10 gets passed into the variable x that we have created. Now what we could also do is there's different ways of doing this. We could now override our variables, which means I can say $x is going to be equal to something else. Or I can go ahead and do some other things that are kind of interesting. For instance, if I do plus equals, and let's go ahead and say $y, this is going to be an interesting one because this is an assignment operator that keeps the value of 10 but will add to it y. So let me show you here. If I refresh this here, let me go, I need to echo it out. So let's echo out $x, and we will see here, save, refresh, we'll see that 11 shows up. So x kept its value of 10, but it didn't override it. What it did was added to it whatever value I have over here to the right. And so we can do that here with the plus, and let's just go ahead and say that I did now the subtraction. X would be 10, we're going to take its value, but we're going to now subtract the value of y. So if I hit save and hit refresh, it's going to show 9. And of course this will also work with division and multiplication. So if I were to divide it, well then it's still going to only be 10 because it's going to be 10 divided by 1. But if I go ahead and use the multiplication, it will actually be 10 as well, because 10 times 1 is going to be 10. So if I were to do something else, like let's just put a 2 here instead and hit save and then refresh, you should see 20. So it keeps the value whenever you use the equal sign in there. It keeps the value of itself, but then does whatever multiplication or arithmetic symbol that I have in there in addition to its current value. So that's one thing here to use with assignment operators. Now one of the things that's really interesting is, and if you're ever looking at the code, it might not make sense, but if you remember on a past lesson we talked about concatenating things, this will actually concatenate them, and it won't do a math operation, but what we'll do is combine the two. So let me show you what that does. If I refresh it, you'll see it takes the 10 and concatenates the 2 with it. So it just takes the value 2 and it doesn't add it, it just puts it in addition to or appends it to the end of this number. So that concatenation operator right there might be something that's a little tricky here, and you might see this a lot with strings rather than numbers, but if you ever see this in somebody's code, that's what they're doing, is they're taking one value and then combining another value to it but leaving the original value. So this is just a small short video on the assignment operators here within PHP.